Good morning. Thank you all for being here, and thank you, Lieutenant Governor, for being here. We've been living through a horrific cycle of political violence in this country. We've seen attacks against police officers, federal agents, including the deadly shooting in the ICE facility in Dallas. Night after night, Antifa wreaks havoc on our streets of our cities. In Minnesota, a gunman murdered a state lawmaker and her husband. It was horrific. An anti-Semitic lunatic tried to burn down Governor Shapiro's house while he was in it with his wife and young children. This week, authorities arrested a man outside a Catholic church in Washington, D.C., with hundreds of explosive devices. And on September 10th, our nation stopped in its tracks with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We miss him dearly. Unfortunately, I'm here today to talk about similar threats that were made against Benny Johnson and his wife, Kate. Benny's a well-known media personality, carrying a message very similar to Charlie's, grounded largely in faith and love of country. Just days after Charlie's assassination, Benny received a letter at his home where he and Kate are raising their beautiful, beautiful young family. The author of this letter made it very clear that he hated Benny because of his views, and he wanted Benny dead. This was a coward hiding behind a keyboard who thought he could get away with this. That's why we're standing up here today. You are not going to get away with threatening people in this way. And I'm proud to announce that we have arrested the author of this letter. George Isbell Jr. was taken into custody this morning, and we are charging him federally with mailing threatening communications. It is a crime, and if convicted, he is going to prison. This was incredible teamwork. Benny called me right away. Chief Burkall, thank you. You were on it right away. Matt Fodor and all the FBI agents. Thank you, U.S. Attorney Kehoe. All of the U.S. Postal Service, FBI, state and local law enforcement working together. This is what it's about. And we are going to catch you if you think you can do something like this. We don't care if you're across the country in California. We will find you, we will arrest you, we will extradite you, and we will bring you to justice. We cannot allow this political violence to continue any longer. This arrest will serve as a reminder to many. Do not do this, we will find you. Greg Kehoe is going to give some details of the incident, of the horrible crime, and we're not going to get into specifics of what's in the letter. It's pretty horrific, and it's now a pending case. But I just want to thank all of the law enforcement officers standing behind me. And I want to thank Benny and Kate for standing so strong and fighting for their views and not cowering in fear, but coming out and supporting their faith and their values. Thank you.
Thank you, General. Just preliminarily, I'm Greg Kehoe, the U.S. Attorney for the Middle District of Florida. I just want to introduce some of the individuals that are here at the podium so you can put names to faces, and they have all participated in this. As the General just said, this was a coordinated effort. In my far right is Rodney Crawford. He's the Assistant Special Agent in charge of the FBI. Next to him is Blad Rojo, who is the Inspector in charge for the Postal Service, and Mark Glass is behind me. Right behind me, he is the Commissioner of FDLE, and last but certainly not least is Chief Lee Burkall of the Tampa Police Department. You know, often we talk about coordinated, organized efforts by law enforcement to get something done, and I will tell you this is a textbook example of that. This letter came in to Mr. Johnson and his wife. We immediately contacted the Tampa Police Department. Lee Burkall and his folks at Tampa Police Department got on this letter right away, pulled in the FBI, pulled in FDLE. The Postal Service was able to track where this letter was sent from in San Diego in a miraculously quick period of time. FDLE turned around the fingerprints that were obtained from the particular letter to identify identify George Russell Isbell on this matter, and there was an arrest by the FBI who was coordinating this outside the San Diego area in conjunction with the local U.S. Attorney's Office, the FBI in San Diego, and last but not least, the San Diego Police Department. What we have here, and you can look at the complaint that has been filed and that is before you, is a vicious, horrific letter threatening Mr. Johnson and his family, sent to Mr. Johnson's house. In the complaint that you'll see, and also it attaches Isbell's letter, he is calling for the extermination of Mr. Johnson, that he should be strangled by an American flag, that he hoped somebody blows his head off, and then some vicious, vicious comments thereafter. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been at this podium many times before, and I say this and I say it again to echo what the Attorney General has just said and what the Attorney General has said throughout the country when similar instances have come up. Such conduct will simply not be tolerated. It will not be tolerated. If you send a communication to anyone, anyhow, anywhere, where you are threatening individuals with harm, you will be prosecuted by the United States Department of Justice. And you will be prosecuted while we bring all of the joint assets of law enforcement, as you see here, the Tampa Police Department, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, the United States Postal Service, and of course, coordinating this is the Federal Bureau of Investigation. So the word should go out, and it should be no mistake that if you decide at any point, at any time, to write such a thing and send it over the wires, or in this instance, put it in the mails, you will be prosecuted and you will be held accountable. If we can just take a couple of moments, I know Mr. Johnson wants to make a few comments, and I invite you to do so.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you, officers. 1 month ago today, I witnessed my friend of 10 years, someone who I considered a brother, a loving husband, a devoted father, a generational leader, get assassinated on a live stream by a left-wing radical. Approximately 1 year ago, I witnessed the President of the United States get shot in the head by a left-wing radical, who also took the life of a Trump supporter in front of his daughters and wife. 2 months ago, Christian children kneeling and praying in a church were slaughtered by a left-wing extremist. And 2 weeks ago, federal law enforcement was shot at multiple sniper rounds in a federal facility by a left-wing extremist. If it's happening every single week, is it that extreme? Or has the Democrat Party mainstreamed violence as a political tool? The individual who wrote me described why he wanted me dead. I was a white, cis, Christian Trump supporter. They described in great detail how I would be killed in an open field just like Charlie, how much blood would come out of my head and neck when it was blown off. This individual described orphaning my 4 beautiful children and widowing my wife with great joy. You might want to say, another left-wing radical, another extremist. And to that, I would like to direct your attention to the state of Virginia, where Democrats have nominated and are about to vote for the chief law enforcement officer in that state, a man who has done the exact same thing, an individual who's calling for the assassination by bullets of Republicans that he disagrees with, the killing of their children, the slaughtering of, as he says, little fascists. Are my 4 innocent, beautiful children little fascists? Violence has been mainstreamed by the Democrat Party. It is not extremist, it is mainstream. And we need a moment of reckoning here. This has to stop. This cycle must end. Is any Democrat courageous enough to disavow violence? To call for individuals that espouse these things, like what happened to my family, or what's happening in Virginia, to call for those kind of candidates to step down? Will Democrats vote for that? Because if you're voting for that, then implicitly you're encouraging it, you're endorsing it. I don't want political violence. I want peace in my nation. I love this country. I want to be able to debate like Charlie did. I want to be able to raise my family in peace. That is our birthright. But you cannot make peace with evil as a Christian. You cannot unite with people who want you dead. I want unity in this nation. I want to be able to agree on more than what we disagree on. But for that first to happen, we must understand the battle. We are fighting good versus evil, darkness versus light. And good must conquer evil. Do not make peace with evil. To that end, and in conclusion, I would like to thank federal law enforcement, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, the FBI, the DOJ, the Tampa Police Department, the detectives here, with absolute pinpoint accuracy, professionalism, courtesy, swift and tact. They were able to act instantly in order to make sure that my family was safe, potentially to preserve the lives of my children, and they're doing that for families all around the country in many different ways. Every American should unite behind that cause. No matter who you are, you should say, this is a country where families should be able to raise their children safely, where people can have peaceful disagreements, and where we can all live together under one American flag. I just want to profoundly thank the Trump administration and federal law enforcement and local law enforcement for saving my family. I will never forget it. It is the greatest goodness that has ever been done to me. And that is a thing that every American can get behind. The Trump administration making America safe again. God bless them.
Thank you. We'll take, do you want to, you have a few questions?
Attorney General.
Wait, I'll go left to right. Okay.
Attorney General, I do know that it's unfortunate what happened to your family in that letter, but he just described that this is solely put on by the Democratic Party. Do you see it that way, that this is something that is caused by the Democratic Party?
No, and I just talked about what happened in Minnesota to a Democrat, what happened in Pennsylvania to a Democrat governor. No, this was a left-wing radical, absolutely. The same type of person who murdered and assassinated Charlie Kirk. That's what we're talking about here today. But it doesn't matter who you are. If you commit an act of violence, a written threat through the mail, we are going to find you. These men behind me are going to hunt you down and find you. This guy thought he got away with this, and he thought he could hurt Benny and his family, and it's not going to happen. We have open cases, other open cases all over this country, and we're going to find you. Any other question? Yes, hey.
Attorney General,
Sure.
a couple questions. One is just about the case itself. Does this fellow, was he found to have any means of carrying it out, and did he have firearms available to him?
This is an ongoing investigation. The man is in custody. I will defer that question until the appropriate time because it is still very much under investigation and following all the leads that we possibly can.
And that's a very good question.
I wanted to ask also, Attorney
Sure.
General, just during Charlie Kirk's funeral, the president said, I disagree with Charlie. I hate my opponent. I don't want the best for them. Would you encourage the president, just given what we're talking about here and the seriousness and how people take every word and use it to reinforce their preconceived notions about people, someone crazy could act on words like that. Would you encourage the president to not say things like that?
The president said nothing about violence, absolutely nothing. And that was in response, I believe, to amazing Erica Kirk talking about her forgiveness. And he was saying how brave and bold she was and how difficult it is to forgive the person who assassinated. No, I'm not worried about that because that was not said. That was not said. No act of violence was said. If anyone is sending a threatening communication through the mail, like they did to Benny Johnson, we're going to find them and we're going to prosecute them. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. Thank you all. Have a great weekend. Thank you.